Watch this Jeffrey Epstein Trump cover-up story closely, because the switch is flipped. The worm is turned. There's no other way to put it, because MAGA is in the process of self-immolation, eating its own young. And now, here's the worm turning part. They're going after Donald Trump. It started as, it must be a Pam Bondi, Department of Justice, Kash Patel, FBI, Dan Bongino, podcaster, deputy director of the FBI problem, because they're covering up the murder of Jeffrey Epstein, and they're covering up the client list, which maybe has somebody on it like occupant of the White House. But it's turned from the lackeys around Donald Trump have let him down. Overnight, it has turned into MAGA, out and out civil war, and they're going after the fearless leader now, right? What's the old joke? The natives are restless and they're picking up rocks. Forget the rocks. These are torches and pitchforks, and they're going after a guy named Donald Trump. This is such a fast-moving story that just a couple of days ago, I was like, God, I got to cover the Jeffrey Epstein story. I've got to cover the Jeffrey Epstein cover-up. This is a gift from God to the Democrats and the moderates, because all the things that didn't seem to stick against Donald Trump, all the things in his Teflon coating that slid right off of him as the master of deflection, it's not happening now, because his own base, which is already a bit off kilter, already down the rabbit hole and through the looking glass related to conspiracy theories at every turn, whether it was the stop the steal of an election that was not stolen, or now Jeffrey Epstein / pedophile / used to be best friend for Donald Trump. They used to pal around together for at least 10 years in New York. There's photos to prove it. There's audio tapes to prove it. But now MAGA is combining all the things they don't like about the Trump administration, because they think he has violated their America First principles, okay? And they don't want him to be their leader any longer. And that could lead to the drain off of about 20% of MAGA, which would only pay dividends to the Democrats, liberal and fair-minded people, and independents come the midterms. I'm Michael Popok. You're on Legal AF. I got the receipts. I got the clips. Okay? It is mind-boggling, and it is extraordinary, and I wanted to break it down for you right here. Maybe I was a little late to jump on the Jeffrey Epstein cover-up bandwagon. I know my podcast partner, Ben Meiselas, has been covering it extensively. I mean, he's been covering it to within an inch of its life for the last year. Putting all the dots together on a giant board. It's like he's got that red ribbon string stuff from Homeland, putting together all the conspiracy theories. He's right, because MAGA is energized and animated by it. And it has caught Trump off guard. It's caught right-wing mainstream media off guard, and the rest. Let me show you a clip. This is all in the last 24 hours, 48 hours. Of Laura Ingraham trying to do a poll of her audience, of all MAGA conservatives, about whether the Trump administration, and Donald Trump particularly, is handling the Epstein files issue properly or not. And just to bring our audience all up to speed, because sometimes we use shorthand, and I don't want anybody to be left out. Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile. He died somehow at the Manhattan Correction Center. Most people say it was suicide. Some people say it was murder. The MAGA side, conspiracy theories, wants it to be murder. And also that he was an Israeli intelligence agent as part of their world cosmology view. And that this is a fact, he palled around with Donald Trump for at least 10 years in New York until they had a falling out on a real estate deal. And there's pictures to prove it. There's Donald Trump's testimony and his own interviews in magazines about hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein, and that Jeffrey Epstein liked young women. I'm not saying that it admits to pedophilia, but in the New York Magazine back in 2002, Donald Trump said, "I've known Jeff for 15 years." Back in 2002, quote from Trump, "He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it. Jeffrey enjoys his social life." And we've seen the dozens and dozens of photos. We've had on our own Legal AF, Michael Wolff just recently, who came on and said, I have hours of interview notes and interviews with Jeffrey Epstein about his relationship with Donald Trump. He had photos that I've seen, including young women sitting on Donald Trump's lap. That's Michael Wolff, an award-winning journalist. And so MAGA believed that Jeffrey Epstein was part of, they got a thing about, we all do, about stopping pedophiles. But they'd see pedophiles around every corner as part of their cabal, as part of their conspiracy theory, right? Pizzagate. This is just another chapter from the book of Pizzagate, which went after Democrats claiming that they were using pizza restaurants as fronts for sexual abuse of children and cannibalism, led by Democrats. Okay? That was Pizzagate. Hillary Clinton and John Podesta and the Democrats used pizza restaurants as a front for a ring of child pedophilia activities. Now we go and it morphs into it all kind of deposits on Jeffrey Epstein. Except their fearless leader has a close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. So for a long time, they looked the other way and didn't lead their conspiracy theories to their natural cuckoo conclusion that Donald Trump was also a pedophile. And so they said, oh, he's president again. Great. His FBI, his Department of Justice, they'll release the 90% of the FBI files and other litigation files and things about Jeffrey Epstein that haven't been released before. And Donald Trump played into this because he wanted to get elected. And he brought these people to Pam Bondi to be handed these phony fake binders of Epstein files in an early release. And then you had Pam Bondi who said, I have the client list. I have the client list on my desk. And then a couple of days ago, they released a joint DOJ FBI report that says there's no client list. And we've looked at the surveillance video in front of the correctional facility door and nobody was in or out before he hanged himself. And MAGA went crazy. But they went crazy in a way I didn't expect. They're now attacking Donald Trump, claiming that he is the deep state. Let's go to the Laura Ingraham clip first about her polling about where they're at, where their temperature is at. Let's go there first.
How many of you are satisfied? You can clap. Satisfied with the results of the Epstein investigation? Clap. Okay, I told you to clap. You guys aren't listening. I'm not going to grade you on a curve. So I was going to get to that. How many of you are not satisfied with the results of the investigation?
Okay. She was shocked by that reaction. Then we have Steve Bannon, who's doing his own sort of polling. And he asks about to his crowd, and he gets a one-time MAGA supporter who claims Donald Trump is now deep state. Let's run the clip of Steve Bannon's group.
Agree with a special prosecutor has to be an independent special prosecutor has to take over. Do you believe that DOJ and FBI right now, with the guys who are all close to Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, do you think they have any credibility left to pursue this?
No, and I'll tell you exactly why, Steve, because in 2016, we trusted the plan with Trump. But now Trump has become the deep state. The exact thing we voted him in.
Why do you say he's become the deep state?
What is more deep state than covering up for pedophiles? Why would you go to that island? Why? Tell me, why would you go to that island? Why would you go on the plane?
And then you've got the other clips that we have on social media where MAGA is losing their mind and starting to burn their MAGA hats because they don't believe in Donald Trump anymore. I don't even think he gets saved by appointing a special prosecutor or counsel, which Steve Bannon is calling for. That doesn't solve the problem. Elon Musk is now piling on, and he's saying, rightly so, just release the files already. Why aren't you releasing the files if you've got nothing to hide? You keep talking about it. Instead of talking about it and rejecting it, just release the files. I mean, Donald Trump just got asked in a cabinet meeting by the press about Jeffrey Epstein, he got annoyed and said, "Why are you asking about that? That's a desecration of the memories of the little girls who died in Texas." Every time he's asked about Jeffrey Epstein, he finds a way to divert and distract. Trump being interviewed about, once he's president, what files he would release. Would you release JFK? Yes. Would you release the RFK files? Yes. Would you release Martin Luther King? Yes. And then it gets to Epstein. Let's run the clip.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would.
Does this look like a man who wants full disclosure and full transparency? And that's what's driving MAGA nuts. Sometimes it's not the crime, it's the cover-up. And it looks and smells like a cover-up. This is a gift we got to run with, everybody. That's why I'm continuing to report on it right here on Legal AF. Dan Bongino takes an upset day, and the new reporting is he's about to resign. Pam Bondi being called Pam Blondie and being fed into the wood chipper by Laura Loomer. Kash Patel and his girlfriend being attacked by MAGA. Oh my God, this is everybody's wet dream on the moderate Democratic side. And this because we have an immoral, illegal, illicit, unconstitutional, depraved president. And of course, these bad things are going to happen to him. It's 6 months into his administration. We'll cover it all. Hit the Legal AF button. Help us continue to grow this pro-democracy channel. In the meantime, I'm Michael Popok. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.